Thank you, Sharma ji. Am I audible?
Yes. Yeah.
Dear teachers, invited guests, and SIF team members, Namaste and good morning. A special good afternoon to today's trainer who joined us from India. On behalf of Science India Forum Qatar, I welcome you all to this exclusive session for guide teachers. You all know that Children's Science Congress is an ideal and innovative program for children to inspire, empower, and expand their minds to the scientific research. Since 2015, SIF Qatar is conducting this program, and in this program, we are conducting various projects based on the theme and sub-theme, which shall be evaluated at multiple levels in review and elimination rounds. And top 3 teams from each category, that is junior and senior, shall be announced as Qatar state level winners. Up to Qatar level, it is open for everyone. Regarding nomination to NCSC, please note that best 2 teams will be announced. The team leader, that is Indian national of the qualifying team, will get an opportunity to participate in the NCSC, and this year, this National Children's Science Congress will be mostly online. Activity guidebook is already made available on our website. Also, student orientation program was conducted in the last month, and even the recording for the same are available on SIF Qatar YouTube channel. Today's session is dedicated for guide teachers, and we are privileged to have an eminent personality to conduct this session and to enlighten us on how to mentor a successful science project. Dr. Hemant Pandey. He is a master trainer, resource person, and mentor for NCSC, Inspire, IRIS, ISEF, Olympiads, and NTSC. With more than 40 years of rich experience in educational field, he was a national coordinator for concept test in chemistry for undergraduates as well. Under his mentorship, students bagged gold medal in International Chemistry Olympiad. One of the class 11 students received the highest innovation award in chemistry, that is Dudley Robert Horsback Award, which is a multidisciplinary seminar highlighting some of the most remarkable achievements by young scientists from around the world. He is a past governing council member of Central India Research Institute. He retired as head Department of Chemistry, Hislop College, Nagpur. He was also vice president of Association of Chemistry Teachers, Mumbai. Being a scientific review committee member and chair for 2014 and 17, he has been playing the role of both mentor and judge for training school students, for participating in International Science and Engineering Fair, ISEF, which is held in USA. He has conducted Chemical Magic Show, delivered talks on TV channels. He is a mentor for Atal Innovation Mission. He is on advisory body of Professor Rajendra Singh Science Accelerator in Nagpur. He was co-convener and controller of examinations for Vidyarthi Vigyan Manthan exam also. And he is also a recipient of various awards, and to name a few, Award of Appreciation for Popularization of Chemistry during International Conference on Futuristic Material, Award for Visionary Leadership Celebrating Innovation by Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, Dr. Uma Sai Prakash Chemistry Popularization Award by Association of Chemistry Teachers. So on behalf of Science India Forum Qatar and all present here, I warmly welcome Dr. Hemant Pandey. Thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation, and we look forward to your illuminating session. Dear teachers, today we have a special guest, our beloved principal from Bhavan's Public School, Sri M.P. Phillips, sir. Sir, we cherish your support and guidance in conducting various events in Bhavan's premises. On behalf of everyone present here, I warmly welcome you and look forward to hear a few words of inspiration. I welcome all guide teachers who are attending this session on Friday morning, and this shows your commitment for mentoring the students. Thank you one and all. Namaste.
Thank you, Deepak ji, and I think I feel very lucky to have two eminent educationists in this forum today, and I'm sure we are going to be enlightened by their expertise. So I would like to invite Mr. MP Philip, Principal of Bhavans Public School, to enlighten us with his words. Mr. Philip.
Thank you, sir. Respected Dr. Hemant Pandey, Mr. Deepak Tage, President SIF, and all the office bearers and the guide teachers from different schools in Qatar. First of all, I would like to compliment the office bearers of SIF for taking such an initiative for encouraging science and technology and scientific temperament among the students, and also encouraging the teachers to guide them for achieving the goal of Science India Forum. In one way or other, for the last few years, I am connected to Science India Forum, and I found they are doing commendable job. So as it is a training program, and the resource person is Dr. Hemant Pandey, I am sure the teachers will be getting all know-how what they are supposed to do. But as the guide teachers, and I am coming from a school background, I always feel that there should be certain goals for any kind of activity or any kind of organization. So as each school and number of students are participating in this program from time to time, I would like to give in nutshell a small suggestion. When we are encouraging the students to take part in any of the activity or in any kind of competitions, there should be smart goals, which I would like to explain a little on SMART, S-M-A-R-T. The goal, this all will qualify the goal, because Science India Forum is an organization, it has got its goals and objectives. SMART means for anything. When you are training the students, there should be specific goals which will be defined well. So as we are taking part in any competition or activity or for any project, it should be well defined. So that stands for S in SMART. That is specific goal. And the second one is, it should be measurable. So how we are going to achieve it if it is not measurable? So it should be a measurable goal which you will be envisaging. It cannot be vague, or it will not be in any kind of ambiguity. It should be very, very measurable quantitatively. That is what we say, the second aspect of smartness. And third one, it should be achievable. We cannot say define which is not having a boundary. It should be achievable goal. So as any organization or individuals or any activity, the goal should be achievable. And the next start for is realistic. It should be specific, it should be measurable, it should be achievable, and it should be realistic, and it should be time bound. So all that is, it stands for SMART. So any activity, when a teacher is undertaking, whether it is in classroom, whether it is going for any project or any practical or any competition, it will be applicable in every sphere of life. First, we will assess ourselves. Where do we stand? Where do our students stand? And what we are going to achieve in the coming day. So that is the teachers, guide teachers who are guiding the students. They have got such a spectacular responsibility. I'm sure they are doing it. And with today's program, I'm sure Dr. Pandey will be giving you all the know-how in this field. So with this small suggestion, like I can say, it is just like in nutshell, I put it before you. When you are preparing the students for this any program, let it be in our mind what are the goals and how it is being defined. Are they smart? Whether they are specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. And thank you one and all for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your suggestion of being smart and deciding the smart goal for each and every small event what we do in the life. And I think that that's a very noble and great idea to apply this smart concept in our every deed we do, whether it is a science research or any other work. So now I would like to invite our leader of the day today, Dr. Hemant Pandey, to proceed the session. Sir,
Oh,
all to you.
thank you very much. Thank you, Deepak ji, for introducing me in a nice way. Sharma ji, then Philip sir, you talk very well. I mean, that is sometimes is very encouraging to the speaker also. And I thank all the participants, I mean the teachers, because this is a very unique kind of the activity which SIF is taking every year. And that every year, the Children's Science Congress participation and the type of the projects which we are able to get it from Qatar, there is a lot of improvement going on. And that is something which gives us a pleasure, that whenever we are interacting, we are talking, and if we are able to get the good results, that encourages us also. Well, before I start with my formal presentation, I would like to interact with you on some of the important things which happened to me in my life. I never said no to any science exhibition. I'm talking since 1995. I'm participating in a science exhibition, sometimes as a guide teacher, sometimes as a judge. And finally, since last 4 years, I have been given a job or assignment as a judge for the international event. That is what we call it as International Science and Engineering Fair. So since 2014, every year I'm going as a judge for the international competition at US. So this is because I was just like an ordinary teacher, teaching in a class, talking to the student, helping students in understanding my own subject, my subject being chemistry. So all the time I was busy in teaching process. But then this was a turn in my life in 1995, as I said, that I have been invited in one of the science exhibition. It was a local district level. And I understood that that is something which was a turning point in my life. And thereafter, I went on, I mean, almost all type of the science exhibitions which we have in India, right from the Inspire or CBSE or Central School or Jawaharlal Nehru or NCRT or Children's Science Congress and ultimately IRIS. So all these science exhibition at different levels, right from district level to national level. I love to be a judge, and as a judge, we are able to modify somewhere the method of judging also. And that is what I would like to tell you in short later on. But then I was a contributor to the best method of judging at science exhibitions. Well, I can start with my formal presentation because that will take around 30 to 35 minutes, and then we'll have lot of time for the interaction. What I expect, I love in my class, I used to love that there should be more noisy class. Noisy class in the sense, the student, they should ask more questions. Sometimes that put us in very embarrassing situation, but it doesn't matter. Because I remember in one of the meeting, a student has asked me a question. He was a school child, maybe of 4th or 5th standard. He said, my teacher taught me today that sun rises from east and goes to the west. And this is what every day I observe. But what my teacher told me, that it's Earth which makes revolution around Sun. It's not Sun is stationary, Earth moves. But when I stand in front of my house, what I see, Sun shows movement from east to west. So how can you explain? So there are many attempts were made to explain him. Their videos were shown, models were shown, but still his question was there in his mind. When I'm standing in front of my home, what I'm able to see, Earth is not moving. What is moving is the sun. So such kind of the questions they come. A lot of questions they come, and therefore I always encourage more questions. Many times we may not be able to answer, but we encourage questions. So today I'm expecting at the end, there will be a lot of questions, which are whatever the question come to your mind. No question is bad. All questions are very good. So you can ask the questions, and that will be I think, will be the success of this program. Okay, so I'm just sharing some of the slides to you now. Is it visible? Is it visible?
Yes.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So this is, I would like to thank SI for all these kind of the things which they have made. Now, this is what is a roadmap of what I'm going to talk about. How exactly science exhibits the work. This is on the basis of my experience, that there are the questions in the mind of a child, a question in the mind of a child, and this question leads him to make some observation. Of course, I'm going to talk in detail about that. And this observation needs a critical thinking. And all this combination gives an idea. An idea strikes to a mind of a child. This is what it happens in majority of the successful projects which we are seeing. These ideas get converted into a project, and this project is finally get converted into a product. I mean, that is what is an aim of the government of India or any science project, that project should not remain at the project level. It should be converted to a product. So idea you have, how this idea is generated, that of course I'm going to illustrate with some examples, but the question, it plays a very vital role. This question should come to a mind of a child, and a teacher, as a guide teacher, one has to uh, uh, create an atmosphere so that the student, they start thinking, they start observing, and there is a question comes to their mind, and this question leads to an idea. Of course, this idea can be converted into project. We have to make a survey, we have to make a plan, we have to do some experiments, we have to take down notes, and all those kind of the things that will come slightly later on. But all these kind of things help an idea to get converted into a project. And once this project is there, then we'll look at many things. Out of that, two important things which I have written here, that is the cost involved, and secondly the comfort, how comfortable this project is there, so that we can make a better product which is cost effective as well as comfortable. So this is what in short is a roadmap for any science project which in any competition, if we are participating or our students are participating. So I had a detailed discussions with Deepak ji. I said, instead of starting directly with whatever the methodology we had to follow or whatever the themes and sub themes about that, but I would like to give some examples. There are few winners who represented India in International Science and Engineering Fair since so many years. And all these projects which I'm discussing today, I have a list of more than 200, 300 projects, because since last 2006, we are participating in International Science and Engineering Fair every year. So we have around 20 students every year. So we have list of very good projects which are, but I have selected some of the projects for today's program. These projects are related to the theme and sub-theme of the Children's Science Congress. And therefore, let us try to understand what these projects are, how they got an idea, how their idea is getting converted into project, and from project, how they got a product, and therefore they were rewarded like anything. So this is what is Madhurima. This Madhurima, she had a question, and this question came to her mind. There are several plants in her courtyard, and she could see most of the plants, they have been attacked by the pests. The variety of the pests are there, except one plant, and that plant was custard apple plant. Now, that observation, that why this custard apple plant is not affected by any pest. So that has raised a question in her mind. And then question, she started working on it. And what she prepared is a biopesticide from custard apple seeds. See, it's a nature, the natural product, the pesticides which we use, we know nowadays how they contribute to the pollution. So instead of using the synthetic pesticide, she has given a very good formula which has been a product from a nature, and that is what is very close to the theme of this year of the Children's Science Congress. So this is what is simple idea. Then she prepared and she manufactured and she is able to sell this biopesticide in the market on her name. This is another very interesting project, which is again related to a child. He was, of course, a child that time. He was in 9th standard, Sarvesh. So what is observation? See, I'm trying to emphasize more role of the observation. He had his school closer to a shellac industry in closer to Raipur. He was closer to Raipur, and shellac industry waste was, they used to throw the waste somewhere around. And to his surprise, what he observed, the plants around this shellac waste, the waste which they are putting there, these plants were very healthy. I mean, it was a surprise. The plants, the fruits, whatever he was able to get, they were healthy. So that observation has raised a question, why these plants are healthy there? And then he started his research work. He went on, he made a planning, he did experiments, and after doing experiment, what he was able to prove, that this shellac is a chelating agent. It helps plant to absorb micronutrients, and therefore plants grow in a better way. So he was able to give a kind of a natural recycling waste. From a waste, he is able to give us a product, and that product is very helpful for the growth of the plant. I mean, see, the child has that idea. Of course, this idea he has to convert into a project. He needs a guide, and there is your role. You are a guide teacher. Your role. You may not have the information, no doubt, but you have a capacity to help a child to get information for him, and that gives a great pleasure when we help such students. Now, this is related to the Yash Joshi. He's from Mumbai, and the Mumbai, particularly in the Ganesh festival, there is a lot of plastic waste. And that plastic waste, as I need not to tell you, because in everybody's syllabus nowadays, there is a lot of weightage has been given to the environmental pollution, the plastic, and that causes a lot of problems. Even the cattle, they die because of the eating of this plastic, and there are so many problems related to the plastic. So he had a simple idea, how can I remove this plastic? And he started a very simple kind of the apparatus, I mean, model he has prepared. And what he has prepared a device which can compress and melt plastic at the source there itself. and this molten plastic has been converted into pellets, and these pellets can be given for the recycling. See, the plastic, wherever it was generated, this waste plastic has been molten, and after the molten plastic can be converted into pellets, and these pellets can be recycled to get a better plastic. I mean, this was the great idea, and that is what is something which is able to control the pollution due to plastic. I mean, these are the several such examples we have, but then some of these examples I would like to discuss with you. Bhushan Mahadik, he's again from Mumbai. He was trying to understand luminosity of different oil lamps, particularly oil lamps which we use in Diwali. We use different oil. So he was basically started with that project in mind, that I would like to find out the most efficient oil which can give a better, brighter light. So he had so many oil lamps with different oil, and he was measuring luminosity of every flame. So that was the project which he had. But surprisingly, he found some of the oils, when burned, they produce a soot, a black color soot, very fine powder of carbon. So that has raised a question in his mind, what this carbon is. So he, fortunately, he had a person who was a scientist in one of the laboratory. He gave this soot sample for testing. And then surprisingly, he found that there is one oil, we call it as oil from a karanji. Karanji is the name of the seed. From this karanji oil, the number of the carbon particles which he was able to collect, almost 70% of the carbon particles had nanotubes. And I don't know whether you know it about our carbon nanotubes. I think as a teacher, we know carbon nanotubes, and they are mostly and most commonly used nowadays in all electronic devices. The conventional wire has been replaced by nanotubes. And that is what this is. I'm talking of 2003. This child, he has submitted this project and he was awarded the very good, I mean, he got an admission to the MIT. MIT is Massachusetts Institute of Technology directly. And right now he's a professor there. I mean, see, the journey, it was successful. He started with the luminosity of light. He could find there is observation was keen. He could find there are a lot of carbon particles. Only he thought that this carbon particle I would like to give the test. And then he went on doing a project on that. And finally, he could say 70% carbon nanotubes are produced from this particular oil. I mean, this is what is a, that happens in a science exhibit, that something which we start doing, sometimes we get a different product, and that product is found to be very useful. This is also a very good example of a very nice observation skill of a child. In fact, our education system doesn't permit us to make observations in a class, because in class we cannot take students for the observation, but wherever we are going to take them out for the outing, we should make them to understand from nature whatever the things which are happening. We should be able to tell them how to observe the things. Observe means not only moving your eyes, but observation means thinking about. At the back side, you should think about that. This is what exactly happened with the Vaishnavi. She had been to her village, and in the village, we know that the termites, particularly termites, they eat the wood, and therefore the wooden structure, I mean, that becomes weak. But surprisingly, she found at one of the wooden pole which was there in her village house, that was not eaten up by termite. So that was a keen observation she had. Why this particular part of the house has not been eaten by termite. So then she could see that there was that kusha grass. We call it as, this is what is a very common kind of a grass which is there. So this kusha grass, if I put it, this kusha grass must be having something which which may be preventing termites to attack the wood. So she started studying. She prepared a kind of a spray from the kusha grass, and this spray, if I put it on the wooden, she has proved it with the experiment that if I put it there is no attack of termites. In fact, the termites are, I mean, no termites reach to that particular wood. So this is what is an excellent example of something which has been observed that nature has produced already. We are preparing synthetic chemical pesticides and whatever the things are there. But in nature itself, there are so many kind of the things are there. Only what we know is a keen observation and asking question and doing some experiment to prove that it is really a viable solution to what we are not following, because this is what is our theme this side, sustainable living. So for a sustainable living, these kind of things are very helpful. This is again Kaushik. It's a very simple, the flower, the picture I have shown is a very common flower, and this flower we are able to get everywhere in India, and this is has an antimicrobial property. I mean, he has studied antimicrobial property of this flower, and again that is because of his observation that there is no growth particularly related to the microbial or some kind of a fungus or algae also around this plant. We never get such kind of the growth. So he studied that, and therefore he was awarded. Awards I need not to tell you, because awards I would like you should search on the site. I'm going to give the site. You will search what kind of the awards. So you will be understanding what kind of the awards these people they are getting. Her name has been given to a little star. Hetal, this certificate has been given to her by NASA, that the kind of the work which he has done. The wrappers which I am showing, they are special wrappers. These wrappers have a metal coating inside. These wrappers cannot be recycled. While going to the school, she saw the paper picker, and paper picker was picking up certain type of the plastic, but not picking up such kind of the wrapper. So she asked him, okay, what's the reason? So he said that this cannot be recycled. So if it is not recycled, nobody will take it, they will throw it. So that was the question that come to her mind, that how can I do with this kind of the waste, because it's a waste, it's a non-degradable kind of the thing which is already available on the earth's surface. Very, you can see at many places the lays and whatever the things that the plastics are there. So she started thinking about, and what she did was a very interesting thing. She first cut it into small particles, crushed into particles, and then given a heat treatment with the help of some adhesives, and she prepared a particle board. This particle board is not only heat resistant but also electricity resistant, and this heat resistant material which she has prepared from such non-degradable plastic waste, this has a unique property. The temperature outside is, suppose is 45, the inside temperature is 35. So it's a temperature resistant. So therefore the rooftop of the small huts and all that thing can be prepared from this, and that help the poor people particularly, they can prevent themselves from the hot scoring sun. So this particle board she has prepared, and this particle board takes her to the highest award that year, and she was awarded with around $51,000. And now she had her own factory. She's manufacturing these and selling it to. Similar kind of the project has been done by her brother also. What her brother has done, her brother has done, he has recycled the resin. He again prepared the same thing, the resin material that cannot be recycled. So therefore, he has used the similar technique and he was also awarded. The name of the little star has been given there. He also got a certificate for that. So recycling of the resin waste, this is also a kind of the attraction, because see, they are helping us to prevent environmental pollution. This kind of the pollution cannot be removed earlier, but because of their project, they are able to help save our earth. And that is what is the biggest award which they are able to get. Now I will talk, all of them, I was fortunate enough that I was their mentor. I helped them to develop a project. And this is the highest project, I mean, the best project which I could guide. See, as a guide teacher, I was his mentor. And there was one function which has been organized by DST, and the parent, his father, was invited, and his father started with my name only, and that was the, I thought, I'm so happy because a parent is recognizing you as his mentor and your contribution. So I feel all guide teacher, we can have that kind of a feeling. So let me talk about the project. He submitted two projects. One of the project was drug synthesis of the taxol. I do not know how many of you know about taxol. The molecular formula has been shown in a slide. This taxol is the most commonly used anti-cancer agent. The story started with him as he was uh, accompanying his grandfather who was suffering from cancer in a hospital. Doctor gave him a medicine, a chit, that bring this particular injection. This injection has to be given. So he went to the shop, he took the injection, and the cost was surprising. That time it was around 10,000 rupees per injection. So this injection was costing 10,000 rupees. So a question came to his mind. See, I'm trying to tell you again and again, what is very important, a kind of a question should strike to their mind. A question came to his mind that why it is so costly? So he went on Googling and searching, and finally found that Taxol is something which is really making that cost, the 10,000 rupees, because it can be obtained from the natural sources or it can be manufactured in the industries. But then cost in manufacturing, there are several stages of purification and all that thing. And slowly, therefore, the cost goes on increasing. So he had a lot of interest in my subject, that is chemistry. So he came to me. He asked what to do. I said, let us forget about any chemistry. Can you just put a cross on this molecule? So he put a cross. We got 4 different components. So can we get these components from the natural resources? So we are able to, when we search, we made a survey. So at least 3 components we can get it from the natural material, natural plants. So that is what we have collected. 4th component we have prepared. We combine them in one step. We are able to prepare this Taxol, because of which the cost has been reduced to almost 2,000 rupees from 10,000. And therefore, he got highest award. He got his star there. He got $51,000 prize award, and he got admission to one of the famous institute in Germany. But nothing like that. This is what is their thought. But another year, the next year, he put this project he has submitted when he was in 10th standard. But when he was in 11th standard, we had another project. And that project is really revolutionary. And that is what is deoxygenation of carbohydrates. See, a talented child has this concept in the mind Carbohydrates, we call it as, say, glucose, for example, is C6H12O6. So there are 6 oxygen, 6 carbon, 12 hydrogen. If I remove oxygen, I call it as deoxygenation. D means removal. So deoxygenation of oxygen, deoxygenation means removal of oxygen from carbohydrate. What is left are the hydrocarbons. And name any fuel, whether you write petrol or diesel or mineral oil, or you are is oil producing country, various products of the oil, they are nothing but mixture of hydrocarbons. So he has suggested, done, proved, done experiments with this. Of course, some of the experiment we did in IIT Chennai, that we are able to convert a 1 liter, 1 kg of glucose into, say, 100 ml of petrol. We are able to convert that 1 kg of glucose. So imagine you have 1 kg of glucose at your home, you put it in the apparatus, carry out reaction, you can manufacture your own petrol at home. So you are addressing the most important crisis, the energy crisis. And therefore, this year also he was awarded with all those prizes, but he got one more prize. And that prize, he was invited for the Nobel Prize distribution program. And he had a dinner with the Nobel Prize winners of that year. I mean, that was an award which was given to him. And this is what is there. Next. These are again the 2 projects. These 2 projects. Sir, can you just excuse me for a minute? Okay, I'm just coming.
I believe these projects are really inspiring and motivational to our teachers as well as students. So these are the good success stories of the kids, which
Yeah.
Dr. Hamanji is sharing.
So
Continue,
I mean,
sir.
yeah. See, these are the 2013 and 2014. Let me first talk about Shreya Nandi and Kopal Gupta. These 2 girls, they again came with a question. See, again, every slide I'm going to say this thing. A question plays a very important role. A teacher, as a guide teacher, when you are going to a school and where you are asking students to make a project, ask them to observe the things and come out with a question. So these 2 girls, Shreya Nandi and Kopal Gupta, they had a question in their mind that whatever the fruits we are eating, these fruits, whether they are naturally ripened or artificially ripened. Everybody knows that calcium carbide is a material which has been used to ripen the fruits. All right. And definitely such fruits are not to be consumed because they do not have positive effect. They have all negative effects. They are have a lot of health hazard has been proved because of this. Even some of them are carcinogenic. Some kind of the things are carcinogenic. So question came to their mind that how can I identify? Because they look alike. A naturally ripened banana and artificially ripened banana, they look alike. They taste differently, but how to identify? And therefore, we started working on it. I also had no idea about it because this question was actually new to me also. But then we had to do extensive survey, research, and that is what is expected from the student. Of course, as a guide teacher, I helped them and we went on doing, and what we learned is a chromatogram. The picture down as naturally ripened and artificial, you can see clearly that if I do the chromatogram, then we are able to get different zones. And inner zone is there, their middle zone is there, and outer zone. And they represent, there is a presence of minerals, starch, proteins, and whatever the kind of the thing, and they react. The basically why we get two different chromatogram, the reason was very simple. The naturally ripened fruits, they start ripening from inside. So inside to outside. And artificially ripened fruits, they start ripening from outside to inside, and therefore chemical combinations are different. And because of that, then what we did, we cut that paper into with chemicals and into strips, and we have prepared the strips like litmus paper. And this litmus paper, like paper, the paper, if you touch to the pulp, we get a pattern. And if we get a pattern which is shown in the naturally ripened, then it is naturally ripened, otherwise it is artificially ripened. So it is very easy to identify naturally ripened and artificially ripened. So they have started manufacturing. I don't know what happened later on, because that is a 2016-17. They started manufacturing these strips, and they said that it's already in the market. But I don't know whether but I got one packet from them as a gift. So I tested it very. So the another project was also very interesting. Ishani Gumar and Kanak Bhargava, these two girls, they had a question again, and the question was in the mind that my mother brings vegetable from the market and she wash it thoroughly. Washing for what purpose? Either there is a dust on it or there may be pesticides. So if I wash it, the pesticide will be removed. That is what is her assumption. She believes that if I wash it thoroughly 2 or 3 times, then whatever the pesticides which were there on my brinjal or whatever kind of the vegetable which I brought, that has been washed away, and now it is safe for consumption. But then she had a question. Ishani had a question, whether it's really after washing, are you able to remove the pesticides entirely? So with this question, she started working on it, and finally they came with a pesticide detection and removal kit. A kit, of course, I have not shown the complete photograph, but that cost around 62 rupees or USD rupees 1, USD dollar 1. So they have prepared a kit which has a paper, and this paper, all right, this paper strip, again, it's a paper strip, which you touch to the surface, moist surface of a brinjal, it shows approximately how much percentage of pesticide is left, and then how to remove. So earlier they used charcoal tablets, but then we prepared a charcoal bags. And in these charcoal bags, if you put it in the freeze, then on the basis of adsorption principle, whatever the things are there, that was adsorbed and removed. So again, recognition, prizes, awards, whatnot, but then they are able to prepare this kit, and that was available for certain time. But then they started studying. They went abroad and they are studying. So now I don't know who is looking after the marketing of this, because marketing side we are not able to see. But then these are the projects. So very few projects are left now. I don't know whether I'm exceeding my time. No, still I have some time. This was the most recognized project all over the world. Jaya Sagar, she was from Manali, and it is very perfect for the sustainable living kind of a theme of Children's Science Congress. So very wonderful project and very simple project. Her parents, they had a apple farm, and she was studying in 9th standard. She observed the apple which they are able to produce, they are not good in quality and quantity as compared to some of the other neighboring farms. So it was a question which was coming to mind, why in my farm we are not able to get it? So that was a question. She started working on it, and one of the factor which she thought is pollination may not be properly happening, and because of that the fruits are not been getting developed the way in which they should be developed. So she used mustard seeds and she planted around the apple plants and saw that because of the mustard plants, there are a lot of bees are coming, and there was a very good pollination which took place. And because of that, there was an improvement in quality as well as quantity of fruit. And therefore, it's a wonderful observation and kind of an experiment. And she has proved it that if I put mustard seed, mustard plants, say around 2 feet away from the main stem of apple fruit, then definitely pollination is better or something like that. She has done a lot of experiment and she was awarded. I mean, see, a small child of the 9th standard, on the basis of her observation, she had a problem. Problem is that why my farm is not able to produce good order. So that is a problem, and she's trying to address the problem. And because of that, she was awarded. Two more projects are left. This is, I need not to talk much about, but this is also is a project. It's a rose family, rose wild plant of rose family, and that these two students, they were able to observe that certain kind of the diseases, the animals, they start eating these rose family. I don't know whether you have observed or not. Even in this rainy season, the dogs, they eat grass because they had an indigestion problem. So grass helped them to get cure. So that was their observation. Then they did the project and they proved, yes, this plant helped in controlling intestinal infection caused by a parasite, which is a Gardia parasite. This is again a similar kind of the project. Chloropyrifos. This is one of the non-degradable pesticide. So this pesticide removal in soil can be done with the help of certain soil bacteria. So he did experiment. He removed this particular pesticide, and that is what. So here they were. If you are using this pesticide, which remains on the earth's surface for a very, very long time, to biodegrade it, we use this kind of the bacteria, and that has been proved. So this is environmental engineering. He got 3,000 and best award, and whatever the awards are there, that's what he was able to get. Now this is, I think, is the last project. I was fortunate enough that I was his guide teacher. He got a mail that you have been selected for the Pradhan Mantri Bal Shakti Puraskar. He immediately called me. He is from Bangalore. And sir, because of our project, I got this award. He got an award for his project, and his project was very interesting. His project was something that is again based on the certain observation. And his project was related to the malnutrition. A protein malnutrition results in increase in the percentage of amylase. Amylase is an enzyme in a saliva. So to find out whether there is a protein malnutrition, then we had to take out a blood and we had to do certain costly tests. Then only we came to know, yes, there is a reason. This is a protein malnutrition case. But he had a very simple technique. Again, he has a strip. I don't know, the people, they are my friends in Iris, they are nowadays saying that I am a strip man because there are 3 projects with the strips. So here again, we had a strip. If you touch saliva, a drop of saliva is put on the strip's color change. It's so simple. And that strip cost us in, say, if we cannot calculate, but in 1 rupee, we can have 100 strips. I mean, so cheap. So you can take a strip, put a saliva drop on it, and you are able to identify, yes, this child has a malnutrition. Because malnutrition in children, protein nutrition in children is a very, very common kind of the things. It happens in all hilly region. So he was awarded that, and that paper strips around cost only rupees 2 rupees and all that. So the purpose of telling all this success story was that as a guide teacher, we always take a responsibility. We think that we will tell them the project and they will work on that project. I am not admirer of this kind of the concept. The idea should come from the children. As a guide teacher, we should help them to get an idea. And once they get an idea, to make it as a project, we had to help them in that. Of course, NCSC, National Children's Science Congress, has given, it's a theme base. So science for sustainable living. This is a focal theme, and these are the 5 different sub themes under that. I will not go in the details of this because already the activity book has been made available to you. So go through the activity book, because you are a guide teacher. You are going to get a pleasure if your project of your child is getting selected at NCS. So the pleasure you are able to get, you will be recognized as you are the creative, innovative teacher. So therefore, we need to have background ready with us. So go through that. All details, every details of theme and sub-theme has been given in the activity book. And I hope you must have gone through it also. But in short, I can just mention some of the important things about the project. Sustainable living, I need not to read, because something which is because we had to plan for our next generation, because we are consuming so many kind of the thing. So for example, in your mobile, there are 46 elements. And once this mobile, we are just throwing it out, the electronic waste. There are so many, even including gold is there in your mobile, but we do not have any way of recycling it, correcting it. Only I don't know whether I have not confirmed it, but in Tokyo Olympics, the gold medal were prepared from recycled waste. That is what I read it in the newspaper. So such recycling, all right, that is what is one of the important aspect of sustainable living. But anyway, you will read it, you will be able to get an information. But let me come directly to the first ecosystem. Of course, detail everything has been given, but when we say ecosystem for sustainable living, so it can be an agriculture, it can be a forest, it can be conservation of, I'm sorry, spelling mistake is there, conservation of plants. See, various kind of the plants, we know there are certain plants are getting extinct, so there can be a project related to that. Study of animals, animal habits. See, animal habits goes on changing season wise. So these habits, birds, their lifestyle, insects, many things. So all these, an impact of human activities on environment. So all these come under ecosystem. So once we understand ecosystem, so instead of telling them the definition of ecosystem to the children, you can tell them that we have these agriculture practices, whatever the things are there, this is the conservation of the seeds, these are the insects, particularly rainy season, we are able to see these insects, the mosquito has so many days life, these are the exciting things. If you teach students, they start understanding, they start taking interest. But then there are several opportunities, lot of good kind of the things we can do. So this is the second important sub-theme. So adaptable to the local needs, using locally available materials. So you had to appropriate technology we had to use. So appropriate technology is what? See, I give normally this example that we are habituated to eat certain kind of the food. All right. But then nowadays our habits we are changing. We're eating fast food, which is not for us. We are following certain Western countries, whatever the food which is suitable for them, that we are trying to eat it here, which may not be suitable for us. So whatever available material which we have, the use of that available material, that is what we call it as appropriate technology. It can be a fabrics, it can be wastewater management, it can be preservation of fruits and vegetables. So you can have a very nice project. Tomatoes, for example. I don't know how many of you know that if I keep tomato open for outside, not in a fridge, how many days it will be there. So can I make some arrangement instead of using refrigerator? Can I preserve tomato for a longer time? That can be a very good project. All right. Perishable fruits, the food, that how can we preserve the food? So preservation of food, all these kind of be the projects which can come under this category. Of course, I will tell you at the end that category is not so important. So social innovation. So there are various kind of the saving electricity, water, blood bank, organ donation, awareness of the organ donation, health, then healthy food habits, that trying to tell every, because food is one of the important component which will help us to give a long life, for a longer stable life. Food is something which is important. Exercise, kind of the exercise, yoga, whatever the kind of the things are there. So this comes under social innovation. Designing, modeling. See, this is very common, the plane, aeroplane. The aeroplane model has been inspired by naturally the birds, how they keep their wings are there. Even nowadays, the biomimicry, that is what we call it as, that photosynthesis. So we are able to prepare photovoltaic cell. So we are almost making a copy of that. So that comes under designing, development, and this kind of the category. I'm going a little faster because all details have been given in the activity book. So traditional knowledge, that is also the majority of the projects we expect on traditional knowledge, because that is a large volume and volumes of the books are available where there is a traditional knowledge is there, and that has not been recorded in a modern days. So correct harvesting of fruit, vegetable, grain, water management, regeneration of soil, seeds, protection of soil, seeds, food practices, construction technology. I don't know whether SIF has an idea about Ahar Kranti. So Ahar Kranti people, they are doing great job. The food habit, food practices, what kind of the food, when to eat, how much to eat, how to cook, all these details, because that is one of the most important component in our health. Then construction technology, what was the grand old construction technology and how it was better than whatever we are using. Traditional agriculture, so many kind of the projects we can do it. I'm talking about all the pillars. Now let us come exactly, how can I guide my student? How can I prepare my student? Now, theme, sub-theme, I must know it, but I should not tell them to the children. I mean, the safest and the best way. That is what I'm trying to tell you. Don't tell them about the theme and sub-theme. Question based on observation. You should create an atmosphere where they should be able to observe and there should be a question coming to mind. Give one way, give some time, that tell them, go outside, look at the things, whatever you look at the things, and whatever your observation is there, just raise a question. I can give one example here, very interesting example which happened, that one of the child, I was just talking with the children, so one of the child, he raised his hand, he asked me, sir, I have a very serious problem. I mean, sometimes the questions are based on the problems also. I have a serious problem. I said, what is your problem? Well, my father is always on tour. He goes on tour and he always forget there his mobile charger. Majority of time, mobile charger, he keep it for charging there and he forget mobile charge. And then when he came to home, then he asked me, go to the neighbor's house, ask their mobile charger, I want to charge my mobile. So it's very embarrassing for me all the time. So can we have any other arrangement of charging mobile? I said, what are possibilities? Just think about. No, what I'm thinking is just like a Wi-Fi, that if you enter at home, your mobile will get automatically charged. Is it possible? I said, I do not know. Let us think about. And we are able to prepare a gadget where 1 square feet area, if you come and you put a mobile, it will get charged. So nowadays, most of the advanced car, they have the charging pad inside. That is the technology. And this I'm talking of almost 10 years before. But now we got that technology that you put it on that charging pad, the mobile will automatically get charged. So allow your students to think laterally, out of box, think about observation and raise questions. Collect relevant information. From where you are going to collect this relevant information? You are lucky enough, you can tell your children, you are lucky enough, you have Google Guru with you. You can refer to the Google Guru, or you can refer to any teacher or any expert of that field, and then make an hypothesis. Yes, this is what is an hypothesis. For example, I want to remove plastic by dissolving it in solvent. Okay, so plastic can be removed by dissolving it in solvent. So then you have to plan experiment, because all plastic will not dissolve in a particular solvent. So we need to find out such universal solvent where all plastic material can dissolve. Plan experiment, not only dissolve, but then dissolve material, how to dispose it off. That is also is a question. But then here to plan experiment, note observations. Observations has to be noted, collecting and interpreting data. So you had done experiments, so you have made observation, you have collected data, and that collected data has to be interpreted, and then finally you have to come to conclusion. I mean, this is what is a roadmap of doing experiment. If you follow this roadmap, may not be in a sequence, whatever is the thing are there, but then this roadmap will help you to make a very successful project. In India, we have a lot of organizations. All right. And this organization Ignite, say APJ Abdul Kalam Ignite Award is there for innovation. All right. So innovation, we have this kind of National Innovation Foundation we have. Then we have Atal Tinkering Marathon. All right. This Atal Tinkering Marathon, Atal Tinkering labs are there. Thousands and thousands of the labs are there where students, they go and they understand, they do experiment, they come out with the project. CSR Innovation Award is there for the school children. Every year they give lot of prizes for any child with the innovative ideas. Then we have exhibitions or by National Council of Education Research Training, that is NCRT, Jawaharlal Nehru we call it as. Then Central Board of Secondary CBSE also conducts science exhibitions. Then Inspire Award, National Children's Science, all these are the different organizations or different agencies which are conducting various science exhibitions which are related to the innovation. Innovation is the word which is the most common word to all these things. And all these, they finally come to a program which we call it as Initiative for Research and Innovation. That is IRIS. I was fortunate enough that for 3 years I was a chairman of this. But then this is the apex fair in India, which is fully devoted to the innovative projects. And even in the Children's Science Congress, we need innovation, no copy paste, no cut paste kind of the things. Well, I will just escape this. This is for, again, for we guide teachers. We are the guide teachers and we may get an opportunity as an evaluator. So for evaluator, there are usually these two messages which we put them: reward the best and encourage the rest. All right. So you have the project, you have to help the child definitely, but then encourage others also. so that next year you can get a better kind of the project. So you demonstrate an interest in the participants' work. This is very important. As a guide teacher, if you are not showing interest, they will not be able to come out with a nice project. Because some teachers, they have, I know you are being chosen and therefore you are not belonging to this category, but some of the teachers we know, they go on criticizing and all kind of the things about the project. So don't do that. I mean, you are being a chosen teachers. I know that you are not belonging to this category at all. And before submitting the project, now last few minutes, I will be talking about this because that is what Deepak ji has requested, that we should have a kind of a checklist, and it's very important as a guide teacher, we should know what are the evaluation criteria, because once we know the evaluation criteria, then we can make our project in that way. So first is originality of idea and concept. There are 10 marks. Some projects are usually survey based. They do a survey. They do excellent survey. They have sample size is good, everything is good, good questionnaire and all that thing. But they lose mark. They don't get selected. The reason is that in these criteria, they miss out some of the criteria and they lose the marks for that criteria. So originality of idea and concept, there are 10 marks. And this is what I have proposed. The project demonstrates significant creativity or innovation. That is originality. Because it should not be a repeated one. If it is a repeated one, copy paste, that student will not get the 5 marks at all. But if we are able to see a creativity or innovation in that project, we have to give the marks. It's a testable using scientific method. That method he has used is a scientific method. See, I mean, these are some of the criteria which are definitely will be shared with you. Relevance of the project to the theme. This is what we do it in the Children's Science Congress, that whether the child has understood the theme and project is as per the sub-theme, whether it is related to sub-theme or not. What I always suggest, that you make a project and then go through the theme and sub-theme and try to fit the project in a particular sub-theme. So then you will not be losing marks here. Understanding of the issue, the project which has been there. So there should be clear and focused purpose, that why this particular issue is there. Identifies contribution to the field of study, whether it is really identifying, because the project is there, but whether it is really understanding the issue or not. Say environmental issue. So whether they understood the issue, identify and contribute, whether they are able to contribute to fulfill or not. And then survey results. So what are the survey results? So that is what is one of the important. So this is what is distribution which I am giving, that can be changed, that it depends upon. Data collection and analysis, that is 15 marks are there. Many projects, they lose these 15 marks because they do not collect data. They don't analyze data. So systematic data collection and analysis, reproducibility of result, that is very important. They do experiment once. We ask question, how many times you had done the experiment? Sir, we had done it with once. That is what exactly it happens with one of the project. So he has done experiment only once. So it is not reproducible. We do not know whether it is reproducible or not. So he lose full 5 marks on that. I mean, this is what we should know it. So once if you know it, I think there will not be any problem. Your project will become better and better. Appropriate application of mathematical and statistical formula you have to apply. In the activity book, they have given different kind of the mathematical application, statistical method that should be applied wherever it is required. Unnecessary, you don't give it. Sufficient data collected to support interpretation and conclusion. All right. The data has to be sufficient. All right. That is very important. And most probably, this is the last slide. Experimentation, validation. Many people, they don't do any experiment. They just propose that this can be done, this can be done. All right. So they lose total 15 marks. 15 is quite 15% mark rather. So well-defined design plan, data collection methods should be there, variables, control defined. So it happens. I was just talking with Deepak ji. The control means what? Suppose I want to study the growth of a plant, effect of magnet on growth of a plant. So I have put a magnet and I just look at the growth of the plant. So when I see, I have taken a one plant, only say mustard plant, and I went on putting different magnets below that of different strength, and I just measure the height. And I put the data. I have put it there. I have done this plant with a magnet A, so much height, then so much height, so many leaves, so much green, so many whatever the things are there. I went on measuring. But then this doesn't have a control. Control means what? Without magnet. So as compared to without magnet, how your plants with the magnet are showing. That is what is a scientific method. So that has to be checked. Reproducibility of result, that is most important part here. Then interpretation and problem solving attempt, 15 marks. So interpretation, whether you are able to interpret it properly or not, and whether you are able to address the problem properly, the problem with which you have started, whether you are able to address these problems. Teamwork, of course, we had to check, we had to ask questions, we had to, as a guide teacher, you will ask questions to your children. See, there should be a proper coordination between the team members. If there is no coordination, that means one has contributed more, another has contributed. There should be equal contribution. See, equal contribution means what? If suppose 10 experiments are done, 5 he has done, 5 he has done, something like that. Degree of independence in conducting project, that is also important, we have to check. And oral presentation, 10 marks. Majority of the students are very good in oral presentation, but they lose marks in other kind of the criteria. So clear, concise, thoughtful responses to the question, understanding of basic science relevant to the project there. Because sometimes we ask, okay, we say, he says the current is 10 volts. 10 volts, so volt is not a unit of current. So what is the unit of current? So that is the basic science relevance of the project. The question which we ask during oral presentation, so they should be able to relate it with the basic science, understanding, interpretation, and limitation of it. I'm sorry, I went a little bit faster, but then anybody has a question, you can ask me. So this is the end of my PowerPoint presentation or whatever. I think I have exceeded the time. No, it's around 30. It's okay.
It's not exceeding
I
the
hope.
time, sir.
Okay. So let us begin the real good session hereafter. That is what is our discussions. Okay.
So
shall I stop my sharing because we don't need to
yeah,
have any
yeah.
share? Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for such inspiring and knowledgeable presentation. And thank you for your quoting that Science India Forum Qatar has improved the project presentation in a couple of years.
Couple of years. Yeah.
And the credit goes to the guide teachers who is working hard with the students. Thank you for showing us the roadmap for the projects, power of observation, and asking question why it happened. I would like to mention that yes, Science India Forum Qatar is actively participating in Ahar Kranti also, and conducted few sessions here and trying to do more. So thank you for such a great stories which you shared with the projects and the motivational and unique projects which you share. So before we start question answer session and I hand over to Ms. Shelja and Mr. Ravi, I would like all participants to send the questions directly to these two members of Science India Forum or raise your hand if you couldn't send.
Sujata madam has raised her hand.
Sujata ji, you are the first one to ask the question.
Before I ask a question, Hemanji, I would like to apologize. I just wanted to put the other icon there with a clap.
Okay.
Sorry, I mistakenly put the raise the hand, but just because, I mean, I wanted to clap because Ahar Kranti is the part of the program that, I mean, Ahar Kranti, we are trying to promote here through GIST, and I'm actually part of that team which is working on Ahar Kranti, and we are trying to promote it in the GCC. So
Right,
that
right.
is the. So
I'm a
we
part
will-
here. I'm a part here in India of our country.
Yes. So I was initially, now I have moved to the education vertical, but the initial team was, I was part of it. And now I'm looking at the promoting of Ahar Kranti in the GCC. Thank you, sir. And sorry for the.
No. I would have been happy if suppose there is a question, that would have made me more happy. Anyway.
Yes.
Shailaja ji, would you like to go ahead with the question?
Yeah. So Sujata ji, you don't have any question now?
I have a question, but I thought I'll give the teachers the opportunity first. But in
Yeah.
case I can ask it, I'll just ask one small question. Do we promote the use of latest technologies like computers and app making technologies also in these kind of projects? Because many students come up with those type of projects. So
That's true. No, see, use of technology for, finally you had to connect, whatever the technologies, technological development or all these things, that you have to connect to the sustainable living. See, whether if you are not able to connect it, then that project will not be a good project, because it's a theme based, and the theme is sustainable living, science for sustainability. Science includes all technology also. Absolutely no problem, but this technology should be something, should be correlated to the sustainable living. If it is there, that otherwise in NCSC, because I have shown in that criteria for judging, see, if it is not relevant to the theme, they will lose unnecessary marks.
Yeah.
Then the criteria they have mentioned specifically that it should be relevant to the theme and subtheme.
Yeah, we have a question from Noble School. Actually, ma'am is asking, is it compulsory that all NCC projects should be survey based?
Survey is the first level of research project. Survey is important in understanding or in addressing a question. See, survey is something which helps us to decide the direction of the project and what kind. So it's not only survey based. Survey based project in Children's Science Congress, definitely they promote survey, but then higher levels from Children's Science Congress, the 20 top projects, they come to the IRIS and they lose there, because even though they are the topper of NCSC, that is only a survey is considered the first step of their science project. All right. So survey is there, but then if you see the criteria, you will see there is a data analysis, there is some scope for the experiments. So all these elements should be there. So look at the criteria, and accordingly you start guiding your students. So then it will be a successful project. Otherwise, it will be incomplete. The project is not bad, but it will be an incomplete project.
Yeah. We have another question from Olive School. Shiba ma'am, you have any? You can raise your question. Please unmute and raise the question.
Yeah, good morning, sir. Good morning to all. First of all, I'm really glad to be here. I was a little late, but I'm very lucky to have here also. And we are very blessed teachers. Always we are getting very good motivated and inspired words from you. And here is my question, and we are going to start a project. But sir was telling about that project is teachers checklist is based on the internal assessment, right? So do we have to keep a record, or it is based on the children's work?
See, guide is allowed. Okay.
Yeah.
So naturally guide, because as a guide teacher, as we know, we have a limited knowledge. As a teacher, we have a limited knowledge. Only we know the places from where we can get a knowledge. That's the difference.
Yes.
Children, they think wildly. They can think anything. They don't have the knowledge, but they can think. So it should be a good combination of a teacher and a student. So even if it is a project of a a child should understand it very well.
Yes.
I mean, because who is going to face interview is the child.
Yes.
So child should know whatever the project. So teacher should help him to understand his project in a way. Nothing, I don't think so there is any objection, because guide teacher is allowed. So guide teacher is allowed. It means that a guide teacher can have his own idea that a child can do, but child should understand each and every aspect of the project.
Yes. Okay, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Raviji, you have any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question from Anjali ma'am from Shantiniketan Indian School. And her question is as follows. Can there be one guide teacher for 2 teams?
I think there is no problem as such. One guide teacher can be for 2 teams, but I do not know whether the guide teacher will be able to do justice with both the projects. See, it depends upon the capacity of individual. So he can guide 10 projects also, no problem. But then ideally, one teacher, one project, because he can focus fully on one project if we really want the project to be successful. But if teacher has a capacity to guide to, absolutely no problem. That is been allowed. There is no problem.
Yeah, I think Panditji has explained in such a manner. People are spellbound and there is hardly any question, to be honest. There is one question addressed to our SIF team in Qatar, which says 2 teams, our flyer says 2 teams will be selected from Qatar to represent the NCSC finals. So these 2 teams, is it in each category or it is combined in the junior and the senior category?
That of course Deepakji and
SIF
have to decide,
Yes.
because I will not be able to. I mean, I do not know, but I think there should be ideally 2 from junior, 2 from senior. Maybe.
Actually, we got a permission to nominate 2 teams, total 2 teams.
Total 2 teams.
Total 2 teams.
So one maybe from junior, the both can be junior, the both can be from senior, or one.
Based on the merit.
Both.
Based on the
Merit.
merit.
So ideally it has to be from 1 junior and 1 senior, but I can give the example of 2018 SIF NCSC, that where both the senior teams were selected on the basis of their quality of projects. So
and I agree with you. Don't keep one from junior, one from 2 best projects.
2 best projects we are
that's the
allowed
best.
to. So it can be
Because
both junior,
even
both
if-
senior.
Right. Because that will be better. Otherwise, the best project will not be good.
Yes. In 2019, junior teams went ahead.
Nisha madam has raised her hand.
Good morning, Hemant sir, and good morning all the officials of SIF Qatar. Myself, Nisha from Rajgiri Public School. I just want a clarification with respect to this submission of this project, because we have the prelims starting on the 10th of September, right? So just wanted to know, like last 3 years, we were the participant for the National Science Congress. So likewise, do we need to maintain a record with all the procedures of the research project, like the hypothesis, aim, procedure, survey, and everything? Do we need to maintain and submit for the prelims, which is coming upon?
I think this can be answered by SI people, because I really don't know about that.
Here, what we are doing, we have the review rounds. So we have 3 review rounds already allocated for this one. So in first review round, of course, there will not be a complete project ready, but with the theme, the sub-theme, title, and the project methodology, and some part of the work, it should be shown. So that way, and all the students need to write a diary, a daily diary, and it should be maintained and countersigned by the guide teacher, so that it can be the verification for their work, the consistency of their work and their observations, and how they are progressing also, it can be reviewed. So I think only the last stage, the project will come up in the final shape. But in the preliminary rounds, or the review 1 and review 2 rounds, it may not be the complete one, but actually it should show some good progress. That is the intention. I hope I answered your question.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
I think with that, we come to the end of the question and answer. Control back to our Vice President.
Thank you, Raviji. Thank you, Shaljaji, and all the teachers who asked question for more clarification. So before we move to the next step of this program, I have a very important announcement to make that Science India Forum Qatar, that's a very, especially for the teachers' interest. Science India Forum Qatar is going to initiate a lecture series, which is based on the best teaching and learning practices by Learn with the Leaders. And in that series, we are going to invite expertise of the educational field. It's not limited to science teacher. It can be for all school teachers, K to 12, on the different pedagogies and teaching learning practices. And the first event is going to be on 25th of September. You will get more information from our portal, which we circulate the information. But at the same time, I would like to request all of you and your colleagues to register through Science India Forum website. So please register yourself on the website, or encourage your colleagues to register on our website, so you can directly get the information, very latest information with you. So that's our new initiative, which is on our pipeline, and you will come to know more about these things. But for today's event, I would like to pass the dais to Mr. Srinivas for vote of thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Sharmaji. It gives me immense pleasure to propose a vote of thanks for today's session. I, Srinivas Oruganti, on behalf of the entire team of Science India Forum Qatar, want to thank today's speaker, Dr. Hemant Pandeyji, for imparting such a valuable training and guidance on mentoring. It was really truly inspirational and spellbound to see the power of observations by children and then how it can be turned out to be very innovative experiments. I would like to thank and my sincere thanks to Bhavan's school principal, Mr. Philip, for enlightening us and inspiring us, and the valuable suggestion given on selecting goals based on a SMART. I also want to thank all the teachers, mentors for your valuable participation. It has remained a pronounced pleasure. And have a great day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Srinivasji. Thank you for such a great event. I would like to again remind teachers and guides to register for the QCSC and make more and more registration and projects where we can have a very good competition. As Dr. Hemantji said, that we need to encourage the students for their observations, whatever it is. So thank you all for attending this wonderful session by Dr. Hemant Pandey. I once again thank you, Dr. Pandey, for his enlightenment to all teachers. And I will officially stop the recording.
Thank you very much.